Hey, welcome to another episode of the InNOLEvation Mindset Podcast, powered by the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship. I am Mark McNees, your host. And today in studio, we have the co-founder of the app Gas Money, Robert Walker. Hey, Robert, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast.
Awesome. You are the founder or co-founder of Gas Money. Who's your founder?
Austin Parisu. He's my other co-founder. We're 50-50 partners. At least that's how we started. And essentially, we met in high school on the Davison tennis team. We were doubles partners, and that was really our first experience of working as partners together for a common goal. And from there, that's where the Gas Money idea came from.
Great. You said Davison. Where is that?
Yeah, so that's a small town in Michigan. That's where I grew up, born and raised. It's slightly outside of Flint, Michigan, which is a little more known by people, especially down
unfortunately.
in Florida. Yeah, our water is good, though. But yeah, so I came down to Florida my freshman year at Florida State University. Started out with a marketing degree. That's my major. And then I got into the Jim Moran College by doing a minor in commercial entrepreneurship. Really enjoyed my time down here so far.
Great. When you joined the College of Business for a marketing degree, which I have my bachelor's in marketing too, so it's a great major. What prompted you? Did you always know you wanted to do a minor in entrepreneurship, or is that something you decided when you got down here?
It's funny because when I first came to college, initially I wanted to go into actuarial science, which is statistics for businesses.
Right.
I'm working with a lot of numbers, and I was always good at math in high school, so that was my planned pathway. And as Gas Money grew, once I was entering college, I thought I have two routes I can go. I can go for the marketing degree, which is a good backup in case Gas Money doesn't end up working out. It's a lot more applicable for like sales jobs, stuff like that, or go the route of going into the entrepreneurship major. And I ended up deciding, just based on the circumstances back then, going into the marketing major was better for me. And later on, once Gas Money started taking off a little more, that's when I picked up the minor. It was too late to switch into the entrepreneurship major at that point. Got the minor, started meeting a couple of professors here, went into the InNOLEvation Challenge in 2023, which was an amazing experience. Met a lot of awesome people through that. And that's the pathway of my college career.
No, that's super cool. Thanks for sharing that. So Gas Money, what is Gas Money? I know what Gas Money is, but as far as your business is, what does that mean? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so today Gas Money is a freelance platform for high school and college students to earn money doing simple side hustles for homeowners. So a lot of our services include like lawn mowing, landscaping, pretty much any simple task that a homeowner might need done around their home. And the way that we stand out is we're fully student-led and created by students. So anytime you hire a student through Gas Money, you're not only getting affordable services, but also helping a local student earn gas money. And that's where the name came from. So like I said earlier, we started it back in high school, and when we started it, it was really just an idea for us to make money on the side. We didn't have any idea of the app back then. My founder and I just wanted to make money on our own time. We were very busy with school and sports, and we thought, hey, let's just go get a couple lawnmowers, go around, knock on some doors, make a Facebook page, and we'll call it Gas Money because that's exactly what we need. And that's how it started out.
No, I love that, and it's grown quite a bit. You have, 2,500 jobs done or downloads, and tell us a little bit about the growth of it and where you're at right now.
Yeah, it's been very good with the growth. We've had a lot of new contractors sign up in the spring. That's usually our busy time moving into summer. So recently we've got, and just in the past month, about 15 new contractors signed up in Michigan, in and around Michigan. And then we also just expanded into Tallahassee 2 weeks ago. So starting to get some of the jobs down here. And it's just been amazing in the beginning, especially with any startup that's more technology based. With this marketplace style setup we have, you have that question, what's going to come first, the clients or the contractors? Right. So that's really one of the pain points that we struggled with at first, was trying to figure out that balance. And if we're moving into a new county or a new region, what are we supposed to get first? We looked into the business models of Uber and DoorDash and found that their model is very centered on their contractors. So we took that same approach where we're focused on getting these contractors to sign up in counties, educating them about Gas Money, most importantly, getting them passionate about the business and being their own boss, making their own schedule, all the benefits that come with being a contractor. And from there, they've helped us as well in terms of spreading the word and helping us grow. So that's been a very good experience.
It was really interesting when Uber came to Tallahassee originally, and I didn't even really know what Uber was, and I started hearing all these commercials, and all the commercials, none of them were about as a customer to get a ride. They were all about, hey, do you want to drive? Trying to explain the driver's side of it. And that's always been a fascinating kind of marketing change than when I used to do marketing and everything. This whole idea that peer-to-peer or whatever, that you're just a platform, but you need to have both. You need to attract your contractors, and you also need to attract people to use the contractors. And you're a marketing major, so what's some of the ways that you have been able to market Gas Money?
Definitely. So I would say social media has been one of the greatest influences, specifically Instagram and TikTok for that contractor side. And one thing that we found is just the ease of going viral, especially on TikTok. And last summer, we put out a couple videos just explaining how much you can make in a week on Gas Money by doing just a certain amount of jobs, what the benefits are of making your own schedule, being able to sign up on an app. And from one of those videos, we got over 250 downloads in one day, which was crazy. And the one thing that's cool with social media, like I said, is that free virality in most cases on TikTok. But what also comes with that, especially with a location-based business like Gas Money, is we had maybe 10% or less of those downloads during that day were actually in the counties we offered. So it's one of those, again, balancing acts, trying to figure out how to balance that.
I was going to ask you, so say I'm in Tallahassee and you have most of your contractors are in Michigan. Do you have geofencing, or is there some way to block it? How does that work?
Yeah, so right now, when a contractor signs up and a client, it's all based on counties. So we chose that to keep it a little more broad rather than doing like a city or a zip code, usually a lot smaller of a region. Mm-hmm. So with the counties, that way if there's a contractor, for example, in Leon County, which is where Tallahassee is, that signs up and there's somebody that might live a little bit across town in Tallahassee as well that's looking for a lawn, they're still able to connect. And we found that a lot of our contractors don't mind driving a little extra distances just in the beginning once we're starting to get new jobs in a new county. But once it's established, just to answer your question originally too, if there's somebody, say, in another county in Florida, like somebody wants to sign up in Orlando, with that, they wouldn't be able to sign up. They would instead fill out a form that says they're interested in signing up in Orlando. And once we get a certain amount of forms for Orlando, for example, that's when we'd contact them, reach out, say, hey, if we were able to do a launch here, would you guys be able to work? What services are you looking to do? And that's how we figure out our marketing campaigns when we do new launches.
Okay, cool. On your website, it says that you have over 30 services. What are some of your more popular services?
Definitely. I would say that lawn mowing is probably at least 70% of the services we offer. And the benefit of doing lawn mowing and kind of focusing on that for marketing is it's recurring revenue. Mm-hmm. And with any business model, especially platforms, it's good to have that recurring service functionality. So that's one of the features that we actually added is when a client hires for lawn mowing, for example, they can select if they want it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and also add an end date to it. So that way, if they want, for example, lawn mowing for the whole summer, they're able to get that scheduled. So we've seen lawn mowing as that main service, but obviously when you do lawn mowing, there's a lot of landscaping that goes along with that, where people want their bushes trimmed, some mulch installed, some general landscaping. And then we also dive a little bit into more specialized services. Like we do simple assembly. If you got an IKEA desk that you need help putting together, or if you're older and you can't lift boxes, we'll help you move furniture around your house or help you load stuff. Like you said, it's over 30 services, but it's all over the place. Just at the core, just any simple service that a high school or college student can do and that you'd be willing to pay, so that way you don't have to do it yourself.
So attracting customers for your contractors, has that also been mainly through Facebook, social media, or have you been doing other forms of marketing?
Yeah, so initially, we'll always focus on the social media. Like you mentioned, Facebook is definitely the most successful for the clients. But we have found that once a client uses us, usually around 2 to 3 times, we'll start getting insane amounts of word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And on the client side, that's really been our main driver for new clients signing up, for new jobs coming in, is, for example, like a family member saying, hey, just use these guys, help some local college students make some money. They did a great job. You should check it out. And that's been more of the organic side of that word of mouth. It's definitely been on the client side for sure.
Starting this or being in this, how have you guys been able to assure quality and people showing up and not they're bad actors giving Gas Money a bad name?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll be honest, in the beginning, we definitely struggled with that. In the beginning, we would just direct new users, new contractors to simply download the app, make an account, and go for it. And we very quickly found that not everybody is as passionate as us. Not everybody's going to do as good of work as us and the contractors we had initially. So we created this funnel to make sure we can filter out the contractors who might not do as good of a job. And essentially they fill out a form on our website. Once they apply, it's very simple. Like they put their age, school they go to, what location they're in. Then we hop on a quick call, usually around like 10 to 15 minutes, to help them get set up, ask what services they want to do, ask what their availability looks like. And then from there, once they schedule their first job, the day before that job, we'll actually give them another call just to make sure they're still on track. And if they're not willing to answer that first call the day before the job, then they're probably not going to show up to the job. So that's also helped us filter out some of the no-shows. And if we can get them to that first job, which most of the time I would say 80-90% when a new contractor signs up, they're able to do that job and do a good job. And we'll usually reach out after the job, call the client, say, hey, this was so-and-so's first job. How'd they do? Do you have any suggestions? And then same with the contractor. And after that first job, most of the time it's pretty smooth flowing from there.
Oh, that's interesting. I could imagine that there'd be a learning curve on that. And it sounds like you guys tackled that challenge really well. So is there a rating system on contractors? How does that work?
Yeah, so every time a job's completed, the client has the ability to give a contractor a rating out of 5 stars and also leave a comment below. Most of our jobs end up getting 5-star ratings, and that's also a good way for quality control. So, for example, if there is a 1-star review that comes in, first thing we'll do is check what the client said in the notes. And if there are no notes, we'll give them a call, say, hey, what went wrong on this? Any suggestions you have to improve in the future, and learn from there. But that rating system definitely helps. Uber, DoorDash, a lot of these other marketplace platforms do that sort of thing. So that's a good way to keep it in check as we scale, because obviously once we start getting into more counties and growing more, it's going to be hard to keep doing that without a little more automation. So that's a good precedent for it, I think.
Yeah, mentioning going into other counties and things like that. So what's your 5 or 10 year, just where do you see this going? What's your hope?
Yeah, so the ultimate hope is to be one day nationwide, like that Uber or DoorDash. A lot of people in our space, like TaskRab at Thumbtack, they are in a lot of major cities all around the United States and also internationally. I would say for gas money, the United States just being in maybe 90% of the states would be an awesome goal, maybe in the next 10 years or so. Obviously, it all depends on scale and everything, but I would say more shorter term, maybe 3 to 5 years, is starting to expand around the Midwest and the Southeast. Obviously, we're in Michigan and Florida right now. One thing that's really cool with that is, for me growing up in Michigan, there's a lot of people that you guys here in Florida call snowbirds, where they have house in Michigan, house in Florida. So the idea behind this Michigan and Florida aspect is we want somebody, if they own a house in Florida and Michigan, to be able to take care of the maintenance around their house, have somebody check in on their house with gas money. And that's one of our goals, regardless of whether they're in Michigan or Florida. Additionally, the seasonality in Michigan sometimes can be difficult in the wintertime. We do a lot of snow removal. And obviously, the snow is pretty hard to predict. So with Florida, it's a lot more seasonal, and that's where that Southeast goal comes from. But overall, just starting Midwest, Southeast, and expanding from there.
Is it challenging to be in markets that you're not physically in, or does it not matter?
I would say it definitely is a little more challenging because, like you mentioned earlier, the challenging part of it is the quality control. When we first started in Genesee County, Michigan, which is where I'm from, we were able to physically go to the jobs, check on the contractors, and usually we'd collaborate with the contractor on their first job to help them walk through it, make sure they know how to do everything. And that's been working really well for us. And see them down here in Tallahassee, walking through the jobs with the contractors. But as we expand, one of our goals to help combat this is we're going to need somebody who's experienced to help guide other contractors. We can do that virtually, but how cool would it be if we had a contractor that's very experienced that we can use, have them work as like an ambassador or kind of help take other contractors under their wing and use that as an example of kind of making sure that quality control is there rather than just doing it all virtually.
Oh, all right. That makes a lot of sense. You're graduating in a couple of weeks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And college business marketing degree with a minor in commercial entrepreneurship. Tell me a little bit about your experience here at FSU and the business school and at JMC.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So first thing with FSU, All the professors here are awesome, both in the business school and in the JMC college. So it's been a great experience. Like I said, when I first started out, obviously had to do all my general education, everything like that. But once I really got into that marketing degree and also the degree or the minor with the Jim Moran College, it's been amazing. Specifically in the Jim Moran College, I know Professor Shelley Griffin and Bob Garner have been very influential on me. Bob Garner was the first professor I had with Jim Moran, and I still remember I took his negotiation class. For me, that was really my first experience in a sales-oriented class, really getting into the meat of negotiation, which is obviously huge for business owners.
Yeah,
and
100%.
that really stimulated my interest, not only to keep pursuing more connections in the Jim Moran College, but also get into sales. So I started doing a little more research on sales from there. That helped us create more sales funnels with gas money, learn more about doing pitch competitions, everything like that. And then after taking his class, I signed up for 2 classes with Shelley Griffin. And in both of those classes, it was amazing because the main project that I had for the first one, I think it was like Intro to Entrepreneurship, one of the entry level, was essentially creating a business in the class. So for that, we got in a group project. We learned how to make a business plan, which I already had experience with, but it was all great review, like business plan, creating a pitch, doing a pitch in front of the class. And I still remember, like, one of my favorite parts at FSU is Professor Griffin actually invited me to do an example pitch for the class with my gas money pitch deck I used for the InNOLEvation Challenge.
Oh, that's great.
So that was super awesome. And it was really cool because a big part of what we do with gas money is we want to focus on educating young adults and giving them that confidence. And one of the best ways I think you can learn in life is through experience. And
100%.
With the gas money brand, when I presented in front of Miss Griffin's class, it was awesome because I could just see everybody in class was, I'm not too experienced, but I had done the InNOLEvation Challenge and a couple other pitches, learning from my experiences and like telling them, look, you got to be confident. And the way you can be confident is realize you're just talking to other people. You got to practice. If you're consistent with it, that's really what it comes down to. And just that experience in general is amazing.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the InNOLEvation Challenge. I know Gas Money was a finalist. I was a judge, so that was my first exposure to Gas Money. And I forget, I know you guys won something. What did you win?
It was most innovative.
Okay, yeah, great. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience going through the InNOLEvation Challenge and what was helpful, what was inspiring about it, and then tell us a little bit about you won some money, right?
Awesome.
And what you guys did with the money. How did that help you scale?
Yeah, definitely. I guess starting from the beginning, when we first signed up for the challenge, it was our first real pitch competition experience in front of a panel of judges. We'd like a group vote where we'd pitch in front of a room of 100 people that were all local business owners in the Chamber of Commerce. And that was good, but this was the one that was the most intimidating because you've got a panel of judges like that Shark Tank style, where you have I think it was like a 7-minute pitch, 10-minute Q&A. And the Q&A, the only way you can prepare for that is just knowing your business in and out and being ready for questions. One way we prepared is we actually reached out to a former competitor in the competition. His name's Jackie Levy, and he has a business called Athlogic, which is stats for high schools, high school football players. And he walked us through the process of how to create our pitch deck. He'd actually done a couple for some larger scale programs like the one at MIT and a couple other pitch competitions, so helped us to get that structured. And then the main thing he did was just have me practice with him. And I'd practice with him, I'd practice with Austin, with my family. And once I had the pitch down, I was walking around like campus, like saying it to myself. People probably thought I was crazy, but that's the one thing that he emphasized is just make sure you have that practice down and be ready to answer those questions. That was just a great experience. And I would say during the pitch, it was awesome connecting with all the other student businesses. Got a lot of business cards, reached out, made a lot of connections with both students and faculty, which was amazing. And then, like you said, we were able to win $4,000, which is awesome, especially for a small business, very helpful. And we actually invested that directly into app development. We added a couple new pieces of functionality. One of those was the ability for contractors to actually send invoices to clients. Okay. So when we first started, it was just like a Venmo button where contractor would text the client, hey, pay me this amount. And after a while, it was like, this isn't structured enough. So we got those invoices in. Now it's all streamlined right through the app. The contractor finishes the job. They write their quoted amount, send the invoice to the client, and then the client has the option to either tip, rate, and pay right through the app, which made it very helpful. Obviously, that was a huge investment that we got from the Jim Moran College, which was great. That's great. And then also invested a little into marketing as well. We did some paid social media advertising on Instagram and Facebook. we were able to get quite a few new contractors and clients signed up. So overall, the experience in general, the experience itself was amazing, but also the residuals we got from the prize money and from the connections have been great in pushing us forward.
Cool. I'm glad it was a positive experience, and I remember your guys' pitch. Well done. And it's always, I call it the Innovation Challenge, the Super Bowl of entrepreneurship here at FSU, and it's always fun for me to be a finalist judge and just see the best of the best pitch. And it's always hard being a judge because all of you are so good, and we want to give all the top prize, but we can't do that. It's not our money. So but it's a great program. I really like it a lot. And it seems like a lot of people that I've talked to who've gone through the process, especially the workshops and things like that, has been really helpful. So before we started the podcast and turned on the mics, we're talking a little bit about innovation mindset, and you have some thoughts on that. So I wanted to spend a little time talking to you about what's that mean to you, innovation mindset?
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you asked because I think mindset's one of the most important things to have to be successful in anything that you do, whether it's owning a business, going into a career, joining the military, whatever you want to do in life. If you don't have a strong mindset, that's going to be very hard for you. And I would say the main thing that we really focus on that's helped us with gas money is consistency, and then in addition to that, having confidence. And the only way that you're able to build consistent confidence is through doing. And a lot of times, especially in the beginning stages of a business, or for example, like if you're working out, like anything that you're working on, whether it's a project, yourself, your business, it's hard to become consistent in the beginning because you're not seeing the results immediately. Sometimes it might take a couple days, it might take a couple months. And in our experience, sometimes it even takes a couple of years to start seeing results from being consistent. And in terms of that mindset aspect, you have to, one of my favorite motivators is David Goggins, and you know him. He went into,
he's a beast.
Yeah, I love that guy, and it's crazy because when he wanted to become a Navy SEAL, he was extremely overweight. And he walked into the office, they laughed at him. They said, "Yeah, you've got to lose like over 100 pounds in less than a month or so." I forget the exact numbers, but at that moment, he was like, "I don't want to be a loser. Like, I want to become a Navy SEAL, and I am going to become a Navy SEAL." He dedicated every day for the next 3 months to just working out his body, just going at it. And one of his favorite phrases from him is just embracing the suck. And sometimes in entrepreneurship, that's something that's not talked about enough. Is it's going to be hard at first. There's going to be challenges and roadblocks that come up. And even with us in gas money, we still have daily roadblocks that'll come up that we have to come over. But when you overcome those roadblocks, I think that that's one of the best learning experiences you can have. And one of my favorite quotes is, "There's no mistakes in life, only lessons." So if you perceive something as a failure and let it get you down, you don't learn from it at all, and perhaps even make it a reason to quit, that's not going to help you progress at all. Mistakes are the best learning opportunities. So if you could take anything away from mindset, I believe that mistakes are sometimes the best teachers. And anytime you make a mistake, if you can figure out what you did wrong, use that to influence how you're going to approach in the future, that's one of the best ways to learn and the best ways to keep going.
Yeah, I'm such a firm believer in mindset. Obviously, I named the podcast the Innovation Mindset. I think that mindset is one of the biggest predictors of success because you're right. It's going to be hard. I would disagree. You said it's going to be hard in the beginning. I would say it's going to be hard every day of your life. Yeah. And if you don't have the mindset of a vision of where you want to go and have that mindset, hey, it's going to be hard, but life's hard, right? So one of the cool things I think is as people, we get to choose what hard we want and what the benefit that we want to see out of the challenges that we're going to face. And I feel, at least for me, that's incredibly liberating. Just knowing, okay, I'm going to face hard. So I'm just going to choose the hard that I want to face, and I'm going to choose the hard that's going to give me the most personal satisfaction. A lot of times when I think about mindset, I actually started thinking about this way as a kid. I was coming down from the mountains with my parents, and we got stopped by some people who were shoveling dirt. And they were just like shoveling dirt, and it looked so like mundane to me. But I noticed as a kid, they were really motivated by it. Like they were sitting there and they're digging and they're digging. And I was like sitting there and we were blocked and I was bored and everything. And then eventually I saw that there was a car under the dirt. There'd been a landslide and they weren't passionate about moving dirt. They had this mindset that their actions was going to save a life. And that just always stuck with me, is like, moving dirt is not just moving dirt. If there's a real reason to move that dirt, it's no longer just shoveling, right? You're being a hero. And I just thought, like, that just stuck with me about mindset.
Yeah, no, I love that example because it really does show you, especially in business on the outside, people might see you and go, well, why are they going for that? That's never going to work out. It's never
Right.
going to succeed. And one thing to get from that is just the importance of mission,
Right.
especially in business. It's great to have a mission statement. But I'm also reading a book right now called High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard.
Mhm.
And one thing he talks about that book is there's so many businesses out there that are successful because of their mission statements, but not enough humans make mission statements.
Right.
So one thing he recommended is with a mission statement, you want it to be concise, you want it to be understandable. So what he did, and he's a life coach, and this is what he tells all of his clients, is come up with a 3-word mission statement for yourself, whether it be, like my personal mission statement is live, love, legacy. And it combines all of the different aspects of life. But if you can form a personal mission statement with 3 words and either set like an alarm 3 times a day on your phone where it'll come up and you see that, or same with your business, just keep getting that mission statement in your head that really, like you said, keeps propelling yourself to, why am I actually doing this? Why am I actually passionate about this? And it's really helpful because it ties in directly with that mindset.
Yeah, one of the things that I was encouraged to do 3 years ago that's been a big thing in my life is create a vision board for my life. I just got a poster board, and then I found pictures of where I want to be and accomplish in the next year, and then printing out quotes that are going to help me get there. And I put it up, and it's a visual reminder every single day of what I'm working toward and what I want for the vision of my life to be for me and my family. And I think that there's so many like mindset hacks like that because we forget, we get lazy. But to be confronted every day with, oh, wow, this is the vision. Am I doing something to work toward that vision, or am I just farting away another day? And I think different things like that, like setting your alarm and restating your life purpose and things like that. It sounds like it wouldn't do anything, but I think it has huge impact.
Definitely. And just one more point on that too. One of my favorite books I've read is called The Secret, and it talks about manifestation and just really attracting positive thoughts. And a lot of people think it's crazy, but if your thoughts have a lot of actions on what's actually going to come out with your life, and if you're constantly thinking about negatives, then just by habit and by choice, you're going to attract negative things to happen. And one of my favorite examples in The Secret is the story of the painter. And it talks about there was this painter who was really depressed, and he went to a therapist, and the therapist asked to see his paintings, and all of them were a woman looking away from him, dark landscapes, very just depressing images that he was painting. The therapist goes, it's no wonder you're depressed. Look at what you've been painting and putting out there. He told him to go back home and start painting things that he wanted. And the painter did exactly that. He started painting pictures of beautiful women looking at him instead of away from him, beautiful houses, beautiful landscapes. And a few months later, the therapist reached out to him and asked how he's been doing. And he found this beautiful wife. He was finally getting his life together. And it all really just stemmed from his change in mindset and change in what he was attracting to his life. And I know there's a big rabbit hole with like whole manifestation and everything, but just at the core, it's if you're thinking positively about something, regardless of what anybody else thinks, regardless of what's going on, if you can find that light at the end of the tunnel, then you're eventually over time going to succeed statistically.
Yeah, 100%. So, Robert, I really appreciate you coming in and love hearing a story of gas money and your thoughts on mindset. I always like talking about mindset. So very cool. One question I always like to ask our guests is if you could go back and tell the Robert before you started doing gas money, what would you tell that Robert?
That's a great question. I love that question. And honestly, I would say that if I had one thing to tell myself, it would be to reach out to people more. to not be scared to make new connections. There's one thing that I live by that I think is very true is that your network is greater than your net worth in anything that you do. You'll find there's been so many different instances, especially with gas money, where it's just completely random chance of reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I got a couple questions. Can you teach me a little bit more about this? And having that confidence to just ask a stranger to give you advice or to talk about their journey so you can learn from it is so helpful. And in high school, I was pretty shy. I was very school oriented. I didn't really talk to people outside of my group that much. I was just nervous when I talked to new people. Once I got to college, I'm a kid coming from Michigan down to Florida State University. I know nobody down here. Like every single person I've met in Florida State has been a new person. So when I got here freshman year, it was the peak of COVID. There was no in-person classes. It was all online. And I said, I'm going to one of the best universities in the country, and I'm not going to be alone down here. I got to start meeting people. So that's exactly what I did. I started going to different clubs. Once everything was back in person, I'd go out and play football on Landis Green, just anything I could do to meet people. And from those initial habits of just putting myself out there, as gas money kept growing, as I kept meeting new people at Florida State with professors, faculty, students, I started doing that with everything. And really, that's been huge, just reaching out to people. Anybody listening to this, if you're shy, if you're introverted, the best way to start learning how to talk to people and learning how to get that confidence is just doing. If you're with somebody in an elevator, complete stranger, just ask how their day's going. Start a conversation with them. And it's amazing how far conversations can take you.
I love that. So, Robert, thank you so much for coming in to the InNOLEvation Mindset Podcast and sharing your experience with gas money. Best of luck with graduation and the next steps and the growth of gas money.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the InNOLEvation Mindset Podcast powered by the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship. Hey, if you like this episode, do us a favor and click like and maybe drop a comment and share it on your social media feed. That helps us get the word out. And then also, we would love it if you would subscribe so you never miss another great episode of the InNOLEvation Mindset. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.